In this video, you'll learn 12 English phrasal verbs with take. So grab a notebook and let's get started. Our first phrasal verb with take is take after, and this means to resemble or have a similar appearance or personality to a parent, an older relative, or an ancestor. For example, I've been told that I take after my mother. We both have the same sense of humor. And my next sentence says, my son takes after me. He looks just like me when I was his age. This phrasal verb, to take aside, also has one definition, and this means to separate or move someone or something to the side or away from a group for a private conversation or purpose. For example, the manager took me aside after the meeting to discuss my performance. This next sentence says, the teacher took the disruptive student aside to have a one-on-one conversation about his behavior. Our phrasal verb here, to take away, has two main definitions. The first is to remove or carry something or someone from a place. For example, the waitress will take away your plates when you finish your meal. And my next sentence says, the police officer took the suspect away in handcuffs. Our second definition is to detract from or to diminish the value or importance of something. For example, the criticism didn't take away from the fact that the author's novel was a huge success. And my next sentence says, the mistake in the report didn't take away from the team's hard work. Our phrasal verb take back has four main definitions. The first is to return something from its original place or owner. For example, I need to take back this book to the library before it's due. My next sentence says, can you take these shoes back to the store for me? They don't fit properly. The second definition is to retract or withdraw something that was previously said or done. For example, I want to take back what I said earlier. It was inappropriate and I apologize. My next sentence says, the company decided to take back the job offer due to budget constraints. The third definition of this phrasal verb is to regain possession or control of something that was lost or taken away. For example, the team managed to take back the lead in the last 2 minutes of the game. This next sentence says, after years of requests, the country was able to take back the plundered artwork. The word plundered means things that were stolen, typically by force during a time of war or civil disorder. Our fourth definition of take back is to accept someone again after they have left a relationship or a job and want to return to it. For example, his ex-girlfriend agreed to take him back after he promised to get help for his gambling addiction. And my second sentence says, my old boss took me back after I left for a summer to work on a cruise ship. Our phrasal verb take down has three main definitions. The first is to remove something from a higher position or to dismantle something. For example, the workers will take down the scaffolding once the construction project is complete. My next sentence says, we need to take down the curtains to clean them properly. This second definition is to write down or record information or notes. My first sentence says, during meetings, I take down the important points in my notebook. And my next sentence says, the journalist took down the details of the interview on his tablet. Our third definition of takedown is to defeat or overcome someone or something. For example, the underdog team managed to take down the reigning champions in a surprise upset. The word underdog refers to an individual or a team that is expected to lose or fail. And my next sentence says, it's going to be difficult to take down the corrupt political system, but we have to try. Our phrasal verb taken has a few definitions, but here are the three most common. The first is to understand or comprehend something. For example, it took me a while to take in all the information presented during the lecture. And my next sentence says, I had to read the article twice to take in all the details. Our second definition of taken is to give shelter or provide accommodations to someone. For example, the couple took in their niece when her parents passed away. And my next sentence says, I took in an old friend while he was visiting my city. Our third definition is to reduce the size or amount of something, especially in clothing. For example, I need to take in these pants. I've lost weight and now they're too loose around the waist. And my next sentence says, the tailor took in the jacket to make it fit better. Our next phrasal verb, to take off, has 4 definitions. The first is to remove something, especially clothing or accessories. For example, I always take off my shoes before entering my house. And my second sentence says, when you go to a sporting event, be sure to stand and take off your hat during the national anthem. The second definition of take off is to become successful or popular in a short period of time. This first sentence says, the new restaurant took off immediately, and now there's always a line out the door to get in. My next sentence says, the singer's career really took off after she appeared on a popular TV show. Our third definition of take off is to leave or depart, especially when talking about an airplane. For example, our flight takes off at 6 a.m., so we need to wake up early and get to the airport on time. The second sentence says, the pilot announced that we were ready to take off and instructed us to fasten our seatbelts. Our fourth definition of take off is to have a particular amount of time away from work. For example, I'm taking this afternoon off for a dental appointment. And my next sentence says, my wife and I always take a day off on our anniversary to go out for lunch and relax. The phrasal verb take on also has 4 definitions. The first is to undertake or assume a task or responsibility. For example, the company decided to take on the challenge of developing a sustainable product line. The second sentence says, I'm not sure if I can take on any more projects right now. I'm already quite busy. Our second definition of take on is to hire or employ someone. For example, the restaurant needs to take on more staff to handle the busy holiday season. And this next sentence says, we decided to take on a new graphic designer for our upcoming project. Our third definition of take on is to confront or challenge someone or something. For example, the boxer was eager to take on his rival in the boxing ring. And my next sentence says, the environmental group decided to take on the government over its policies on climate change. Our fourth main definition of take on is to acquire a new quality or characteristic. For example, the sculpture took on a new look when viewed under different lighting conditions. And my second sentence says, the young actor took on a more serious role in his latest film. Our phrasal verb take out has 5 main definitions. The first is to remove something or someone from a place. For example, can you help me take out the garbage? And the surgeon had to take out his appendix. My second definition of take out is to get food from a restaurant or other establishment to eat elsewhere. For example, let's take out some Chinese food for dinner tonight. My third definition is to arrange for insurance or get a loan from a bank. For example, we need to take out travel insurance before we go on our trip. And my next sentence says, the company decided to take out a loan to fund its expansion. Our fourth definition of takeout is to go on a date or social outing with someone. For example, John asked Sarah to take him out to a fancy restaurant for their anniversary. And my next sentence says, my friends are planning to take me out to celebrate my birthday. The fifth definition of takeout is used in informal settings, and this means to kill someone. For example, the gangster paid someone to take out the witness before he could testify in court. The phrasal verb take over has 3 definitions. The first is to assume control or responsibility of something. For example, the new CEO took over the company last year and has made significant changes. My second sentence says, the substitute teacher will take over the class until the regular teacher returns from maternity leave. Maternity leave is a break from work a mother takes before and after having a baby. Our second definition of takeover is to become dominant or prevalent in a situation or activity. For example, digital media has taken over the advertising industry in recent years. This next sentence says, online shopping has taken over the retail industry. Our third definition of takeover is to physically take control or possession of something. For example, the army was sent to take over the rebel-held city. Our phrasal verb take up has 3 definitions. The first is to begin or start a new activity, hobby, or interest. For example, after retirement, my father took up painting as a hobby. And my next sentence says, I want to take up yoga to improve my flexibility. Our second definition of take up is to occupy or use a certain amount of space or time. For example, the new sofa takes up too much space in the living room. And my next sentence says, this project has taken up a lot of my time lately. The third definition of take up is to accept an offer, challenge, or responsibility. For example, the company offered me a new position and I decided to take it up. This next sentence says, I dared him to run a mile in under 6 minutes and he took up the challenge. This phrasal verb to take aback is used a lot less frequently than the other ones, but this means to shock or surprise someone. For example, the hostility of the audience took the speaker aback, and I was taken aback by her blunt criticism. Thank you for watching. I hope at least one of these phrasal verbs were new to you. Try to use one the next time you are speaking with someone in English or down below in the comments. See you in the future.